China not happy, U.S. Navy and allies conducts world's largest military drills in South China Sea. When the U.S. Navy launches the world's largest maritime military exercises on Monday, a country that has not been invited to the 10-nation exercise will follow with particular interest. Although Rim of the Pacific 2020 is based in Hawaii, China will follow all joint maneuvers by American friends and allies on the sidelines or after the exercise, particularly in the controversial South China Sea. Since 2012, Beijing has built and militarized a series of man-made islands in the region, and, equally worryingly, Washington's longest-serving ally in the Philippines region is showing signs of relenting in the face of Chinese pressure. How does that roll back the control that China has established across its man-made islands? Said William Chung, analyst at the Yusof Ishak Institute in Singapore. It would have worked 10 or 20 years ago, but not today. Despite this, the United States is trying to match its hard-hitting new rhetoric about the region with action. It has conducted naval operations, sometimes with partners like Japan and Australia, much more frequently in recent months, and recently held an exercise involving 2 aircraft carriers as the Chinese Navy exercised nearby. Some countries in the region supported Mr. Pompeo's July statement, such as Vietnam. But the weak point of the tougher U.S. strategy turns out to be the Philippines' shift in stance. This month, Delfin Lorenzana, Manila's normally hawkish defense secretary, banned the country from participating in naval exercises in the South China Sea. President Rodrigo Duterte has a standing order for us, for me, that we should not get involved in naval exercises in the South China Sea except in our national waters, 12 miles from our coasts, Mr. Lorenzana. Since last month, when U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo declared China's vast maritime claims to the South China Sea illegal, over which other countries ranging from Vietnam to the Philippines are also claiming partial sovereignty, the region has become the focal point of Washington's strategic rivalry with Beijing. But while the July 13 statement ended the United States' claim of neutrality in the South China Sea, some argue that it may already be too late to reverse China's dominance in the region. Remarks followed a terse statement by Mr. Duterte that he was unable to assert Manila's water claim because China has arms. We don't do. Security officials in other Asian countries have said that Manila's public renunciation of its right to free navigation in the disputed waters has come as a shock. Beijing has long demanded that rival South China Sea claimants pledge to hold naval exercises within 12 miles of their shores. The fact that the Philippines is publicly acquiescing to this suggests the prospect of China moving forward to advance their demand, said an official for a U.S. ally. Washington had hoped for a firmer response from Manila, especially as Lorenzana and Foreign Minister Teddy Locsin have until recently used more combative language towards China. Mr. Lorenzana publicly endorsed Mr. Pompeo's tougher stance on the region and called on the Chinese government to comply with a 2016 international arbitration award in favor of the Philippines over the two countries' maritime claims on the Sea of Southern China. The Philippines and the United States have a mutual defense treaty that Pompeo confirmed last year extended to the South China Sea. Washington was also encouraged after Manila suspended a plan to end an agreement governing visits by U.S. forces to the Philippines. For Washington, the Philippines is important to more than the South China Sea. It is also crucial to the U.S. strategy of competing with China in the wider Indo-Pacific region. China's development of missiles that can threaten large U.S. bases and aircraft carriers is forcing Washington to consider a new strategy based on smaller mobile units.